Welcome back, everyone. This is Austin Reville on our From the Vault series, brought to you by 2FC Tactical, located right here in New Prague, Minnesota. Super excited to bring this Springfield Armory 1863 musket to you. One of the things that has been really awesome to showcase in our shop here is our Second Amendment Museum wall. That is brought to you by Veteran Shredding, a local shredding company that was kind enough to sponsor that particular section of our shop. It allows us to put on display, yes, our historical firearms that we have in store. Maybe there's some of them out of our personal collection, me and the employees here. But more importantly, it's our customers that will bring stuff in and allow us to display it. And it's grown into uniforms, pictures from various times and periods throughout American history. Very cool to get to bring that to you. Can't wait to dive into this. Hang on, guys. We'll get back to our From the Vault series here shortly. I just want to take a quick moment and thank our partners over at the United States Concealed Carry Association. The USCCA has been a partner here at 2FC Tactical for a little over 5 years now. I personally trusted them with my concealed carry insurance for almost a decade now, me and my wife. So I really do believe in what they do and what they have to offer. And we want to thank them for supporting this channel to grow. The memberships with the USCCA gives you access to certified training, concealed carry resources, and the self-defense liability coverage. So you are not alone if the unthinkable ever happens. That will be in the link right down below. Just check it out. The one thing I will say that you can do that's completely free of charge, go and get their concealed carry reciprocity map, upload the permits that you have to carry, and it will show you where that is valid in throughout the United States, as well as the local laws as you travel. Don't get jammed up on the road, guys. Just take that moment and at least get that. It's free. And the levels of membership that they offer, there's something there for everybody. It's not super expensive. You get the same liability coverage, self-defense liability coverage, regardless what level you choose. Again, really got to thank them for what they do. Now back to the video. So what we have right here is, of course, the 1863 musket. And this one has been slightly modified post-use. So the wood has been cut down. It would normally extend almost the full length of the barrel. So it is unfortunate there's been some post-Civil War modifications, which is not completely unheard of. But the 1863 Springfield Armory musket is kind of the last of its kind. It's a dying era of non-breech loading firearms. Springfield would follow this up just 10 years later with the 1873 trapdoor. And then, of course, that would go into the Springfield Model 1898, which would be known as the Crag, and the Model 1903, and so on and so forth. Now, talking about this gun, when we look at the world and what is going on at the time when this was born, it's 1863. The Civil War has been going on in full force for a couple of years now, and it's really undecided in how this thing is going to go. And the U.S., specifically the Northern Army, was looking for guns. They didn't have enough of them to go around. The Civil War, despite the fact that it was kind of brewing, like this would come politically for a while, when it actually did explode, no one was fully ready for it when it came to the armaments of the time. And it really propelled designs and firearm technology well beyond where it would have been had it not happened. Unfortunately, great tragedy and great destruction breeds great innovation. We've seen this throughout history. So Springfield was looking to update the muskets of the Northern Army, and they came up with this idea. It does feature a percussion cap system, so it's not a flintlock. It is still a muzzle-loading musket, just like the flintlocks before it, other than adding that percussion cap system. The idea was faster loading times, right, and more reliable with that particular system. There was about 700,000 of these made. There are two different types, the Type 1 and the Type 2. The Type 2 is kind of colloquially referred to as the 1864. It's in the locking mechanisms and the bands is where the main difference is. This is an 1863 stamped one, so this is the Type 1 version. Yes, it has been modified. We're very fortunate to have something like this come in. You get to see things that a lot of times you'll only see in movies and video games, right? This particular musket came in with a collection that a guy would like or wanted us to put on display. So again, shout out to our customers for bringing something like this. Now, this is chambered in a .58 caliber ball. This is pre-smokeless powder, so we're still talking about a black powder muzzle-loading musket here. You got your ramrod right here. Now again, this has been modified slightly, so this would be sheathed throughout the stock normally, but in this particular case, obviously it's exposed. You know, if you were a well-trained soldier, you could get, 3 to 5 shots off a minute with this, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. For a musket, this was actually fairly precise. This was a pretty accurate gun, and it did feature the highest technology of the time. Granted, it was outdated within probably 6 or 7 months, and that was true of a lot of firearms at the time. The most advanced gun going on in the Civil War at that time was the Henry repeater. That came out in 1858. Not widely available, very expensive, but it did feature the cartridge system that would slowly be implemented, not necessarily in the way you and I think of it today. The cartridge system during the Civil War was predominantly still paper. So it was paper cartridges that would go into breech-loading firearms like the Sharps carbine, for instance. Not necessarily metallic, brass, steel, self-contained units. So they were volatile and subject to the elements, which is why something like this was still looked at as a viable option, because the modern loading systems that we have come to enjoy in today's world they had not reached their full potential yet, and they wouldn't until late in the war. Now, this was not a long-lasting piece. That is true. By 1873, the Springfield trapdoor rifle would come out and render this thing obsolete the moment it came out. Now, yes, that was post-Civil War, but trapdoor variants had been going on throughout the Civil War, especially towards the end, and we saw that moving on from guns like this was something that the United States military and the Confederacy was looking to do as quickly as possible. We've seen a few variants of muzzleloaders, like we had the Enfield Tower pattern 1853 that we showed earlier. And that was predominantly on the Confederate side. This was predominantly on the northern side. It was still actually highly sought after by Confederate soldiers for its reliability and its build. And again, 700,000 guns produced sounds like a lot, but when you can factor in attrition and war, these things kind of went in and out of service fairly quickly. So there's not a ton of these. It's not something that we see every day. Every now and then you find them in the pawn shop, varying degrees of condition. A lot of them were modified post-war because they went to become hunting rifles, stuff that people would use in everyday life, just like any gun that you would buy today. We saw this all the way up through the Second World War in Korea, right? You will get sporterized versions of those military rifles, whether it be K98K, Springfield 1903s, British Enfields, it doesn't matter. Post-war, there were so many of these guns. They were so readily available and so cheap. People still had to live. They wanted to hunt. They wanted in this case, probably eat or defend themselves. So they would buy them and modify them for whatever purpose that individual was looking for. Now, when it comes to this specific rifle, it does have the nice Springfield stamps, U.S. military stamps on it. It's in decent condition when you consider its age, 150-ish years almost. So you really have to give some props to whoever had this. The wood is still there. It's still original wood. Yes, it's modified. There's some chunks out of the wood, as one would expect, as something that probably was used in battle, and of course went home and probably was on a farm for another 50 to 75 years post-Civil War. Got to give a shout out to our customers, though. Thank you so much for bringing stuff in like this. And we do hope that you'll continue to come back to our From the Vault series. We have a whole exciting slew of things coming your way. We got our Lexington and Concord podcast getting ready to launch here soon. We're super excited. We're getting some guests lined up for that. Alex, my brother from Guns will be on it. Super stoked to have them and get this off and rolling. We're also stoked to see what comes through the door next. And we have another one coming up for you. It's also Civil War era. Plus, we have some new machine guns that came in that we should probably talk about, because who doesn't love a good machine gun? Anyone that plays Call of Duty Black Ops, right? We look forward to seeing you on the next video. Like I said, we've got a lot of cool historical pieces coming up. Cannot wait to bring them to you. Have a good one, guys.